Yo, Nakama, how is it going? It is your boy Cozy coming at you with another episode here of the Cardboard Cafe. Now, something I want to talk about is that every format, it's the same thing. The ladders are flooded with the same 3 leaders or the same 3 deck archetypes, and locals, same 3 leaders, same 3 deck archetypes. And somebody's always got a hot take of, you're not even playing the game anymore. You're just playing the spreadsheet. And so today I want to talk about, are meta slaves ruining the TCG environment? Or just like the rest of us, just copying and coping because we lost to a better deck. So we're going to sit back, we're going to relax, and we're going to talk some cardboard. So I want to first define the term of meta slaving, right? It's not just net decking like we've talked about before on here, but it's going to be the idea of what makes it different than net decking. See, the concept of net decking is you grab a list that did really well at a specific tournament and just copy it and roll with it and see what happens. Being a meta slave is you are chasing the lists that do well consistently across a larger span of time, but you're only hard focusing on that leader because it's good. You're only focusing on that archetype because it's good. It's meta. It's consistent. You're chasing the same performance results that other people have experienced when you may not even enjoy that play style. You may not enjoy that archetype. You are following the numbers rather than following the archetype or the leader when it comes to one piece. Now, I want to ensure that that is specific when we go further into our conversation, right? Is net decking to try out a list to see why it does so well is understandable. But somebody that is a meta slave is going to say, oh, this leader or this archetype did well at the last 3 big tournaments. I'm going to play it because it did well. Not because the leader is fun or because the archetype makes sense and I enjoy it. It's strictly because of performance. And that's kind of the realm that we're going to be looking at and going into. First, I want to highlight how meta slaves do ruin a particular format in the TCG community, right? First, it homogenizes the format. It makes every bracket look identical. So when you see a particular matchup or a particular tournament, you're going to see green Mihawk versus red-green Luffy, or green Mihawk versus black-yellow Teach, or you're going to see some combination with Fiendsmith in Yu-Gi-Oh, or you're going to see red-blue Storm, is it Storm, in Magic. You're going to see Jeskai Prowess in Magic. You're going to see green-white Wing Gundam in Gundam. Whatever the case is, you're going to see a lot of the same leaders, the same archetypes, and it just makes every bracket look identical. And you can just copy and paste the players in at that point. You're just looking at the same match over and over, which brings me to that next point, that it kills deck identity and creativity. It opens the door for where nobody has a signature deck anymore. You can look at Cozy and be like, Cozy is the Jinbei player, or he is the red-blue VV player, versus, oh, Cozy's just going to play whatever the meta is because Cozy's chasing the numbers. And I completely understand it. And that's why I like playing fun stuff. I do it for me because that's just how I am. I like playing weird things because your boy's a little weird. But nonetheless, like, it kills just the identity. You can identify somebody as a particular leader or a particular archetype just by the way they are and their personality. And that's what makes the game different and unique. But being a meta slave really pulls that away from somebody. It also makes content and the local tournament just super boring to watch or play against, because you know you're going into your locals or you're going to load up a YouTube video and it's going to be this leader or this archetype versus this leader or this archetype, and it can be the same search result 5, 10 videos deep. You're really trying to find something that just is different. It kind of makes it exciting. It be whatever it is, right? But at the end of it all, does it really make a difference to the player or the viewer to make it different and interesting? Meta slaves really pull against that. But I don't want this to be just a negative video, you guys. I want this to also be a back and forth discussion. So I'm going to bring up some good points on how meta slaves are not ruining the TCG community or the formats that they play in. So, ideally, first thing I want to talk about is the card game entry level can be very expensive. So, chasing the meta is often economically rational for people just to kind of get into. Oh, I'm going to play this because it's good versus I'm going to build a deck that I like. It's going to be in a very expensive and I may not enjoy it because people are playing what is consistently good. I'm going to get discouraged and feel like I wasted my money. So, being a meta slave and seeing what already does well as you're going into the card game will help you be a little bit more emotionally rational when it comes to spending things on shiny cardboard. So, understanding what the meta is and what it does and having that good support system behind it is something that is very, very positive when looking at the numbers of I'm going to play Red Green Luffy because it does really well. It makes sense why these cards are the price that they are. So my barrier to entry when it comes to cost is now rationalized and it makes more sense. Additionally, it offers competitive integrity. So if we're entering a tournament to win, we got to play the best deck. It's not a character flaw for anybody to want to do well at a local, a regional, the nationals, worlds. It does not matter. If our goal is to win and be successful, we got to make sure we're running the best thing that's possible. So yeah, it's going to be Red Green Luffy. It's going to be Green Mihawk. It's going to be something Fiend Smith. It's going to be Is It Prowess, Jeskai Prowess, whatever the format you're playing, the game you're playing, what does well for a reason because of the support that it got, how it does against other decks that are doing really well. Whatever the case is, that meta is defined by the cards and the players that play those cards. So having that competitive integrity of making sure that we have every single card to have a rational reason behind it being played, it makes sense to have a meta slave running the format because those are the chasers that are going to show why it's successful and it's going to show why it matters to win. Additionally, it allows for off-meta brewers to really start cooking up the format. Rogue decks exist for a reason because they are very niche into what the meta is. The meta slaves are the ones that really allow the off-meta rogue deck brewers to find that success. You'll find random one-off lists that win a tournament because it goes against what everybody else is playing, you guys. Like, at the end of it all, it's going to be something that is important. Like, when I was playing Blue Jinbei back in the OP 15 meta, I believe, with Red Blue Lucy running around, with a couple of other things that were running around, like, Jinbei did really well. And I was surprised Jinbei did as well as it did because it had cards in there that beat what the current meta was. I was topping locals with Jinbei. Cozy was known as the Jinbei guy in Vegas. He was also kind of known as the Jinbei guy that plays weird stuff when I moved down here to Texas. But either way, like, it allowed for random things to come about, and that is what's important, and that's what matters the most. It allows rogue tech to have existence. It allows for those random sparks of creativity to exist, and we wouldn't have that if everybody just played random things. We wouldn't have something that is consistent or something that's like, oh, that's a cool idea. We didn't think about doing it this way and having a different perspective. So for the meta slaves, I thank you on behalf of the rogue players and the off meta picks. You're the real ones. So where do we draw the line, right? Where is the distinction between being meta aware and a meta slave? So we want to pivot to what explains everything like that. Being meta aware, yes, you understand what the top 5 performing decks are right now. So you want to build something that is on par or competes with them. That makes total sense. Being a meta slave is the adversely over hyperbolized version of that. So being aware and understanding what is really well versus only playing what's really well is where that distinctive line is. It's a hard line of, yeah, I know Red Green Luffy, Mihawk. Those are 2 really good decks. I'm going to build something that deals with green because green is poppin'. So I'm going to play this. Versus Red Green Luffy, Green Mihawk, green is the only color I'm playing until somebody says otherwise. Until I see something consistently beating green, I am only playing green. And your hard line is because it does well. That is the distinction that we want to look at here today, you guys. So I want to kind of look back at what makes a great TCG. Sometimes it's got to be the people that are in it. The community part that we talked about in the very first episode of Cardboard Cafe, you guys, is where this really defines itself. And I wanted to kind of bring this to the attention with OP17 now becoming a prevalent thing closer and closer at the time of recording this video. We are about a month or so, a little less than a month away from OP17, but this applies to every format. This applies to every card game. When do we allow the meta slaves to really run and dictate the show? Usually when a new format comes out, or usually after a couple of weeks, but anytime after the midway point of a new format is when we get to start really understanding, well, are they now ruining the game? In my opinion, I don't think they are. I think they set the boundaries for the game. I really do. But sometimes having an entire local of just nothing but meta slaves and no creativity, that's kind of where it gets discouraging for me. But having the boundaries of what a meta looks like and having those meta slaves really set those hard lines of this is good, this is bad, find something in the middle, I am all for. So are they ruining the game or just playing it out right now? I want to know what your guys' take is down in the comments down below. I respond to every single comment that comes through. So I want to continue having this discussion outside of just what I talked about in this video. And if you are enjoying this type of content, let me know by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and ringing that notification bell so you do not miss the next upload. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace and love, Nakama.
Thanks for riding with the vibe. Cozy games every time. Pulling leaders, making plays on the line. Sailing through the grand line, strategy refined. Catch your next match, stay alive.